Hello everybody. So I know that we are crashing. This is the fourth week of a systemic crash. Really, the entire growth sector, risk on sector is crashing at the same time. I know Bitcoin is at 79 right now. Time for me to make this video. It dropped $3,000. Anyways, we're still gonna focus on MicroStrategy, which is the topic of this video. We are now down 20% from the highs for Bitcoin, actually closer to 25%. MicroStrategy is down quite a bit from these same levels, actually 27%. I'll show that at the end of the video. It's a bear market, at least the beginning of a bear market. I don't know if it's a temporary one or a long-lasting one. I still think we're in a temporary bear market. But anyways, in the meantime, what do we say about the bear? We say the bear is for building. What has Michael Saylor been doing? He's been busy building. He's been busy doing things like orange pilling the United States. We had the best news in crypto in the past 4 years, which is the establishment of strategic Bitcoin reserve. But the market is dumping for unrelated reasons related to tariffs and fear in general. You can see this is a lovely picture, really. You see Saylor reaching such heights of government. This is really a validation of his strategy at the highest level in my view. Today we have an amazing news. Today we have a 21 billion program announced on STRK and at the market program on STRK, and my viewers will be very happy. Many of you have been complaining about him tapping the ATM on the common stock. It looks like we're going to get some ease on him tapping the ATM on the common stock, because now he's going to have another ATM to tap on, and it's going to be the ATM on STRK. If you look at STRK, actually the STRK perpetual equity, actually the preferred equity, right? Preferred shares. So we're just going to, it's a hybrid. A preferred is a hybrid between an equity and a bond. It's kind of in the middle. Anyways, you can see it's up compared to when it was launched at just above 80. So it's slightly up still, despite the crazy volatility that we've had in the common stock. So I can tell this is working, and you may think there will be a lot of demand for STRK, and a lot of people will be compelled by the 8% interest that you get on STRK, in addition to an option to convert to MicroStrategy shares in the future, to dilute in the future. Like I said, people will be happy that the ATM happens on STRK, because you're not diluting immediately. Although make no mistake, there will be dilution down the line by issuing STRK, but it's not immediately, because STRK has a conversion price of 0.1 MSTR shares or $100. Meaning that today that conversion price would be $25, meaning that nobody would convert to 1/10 to 10% of the MSTR share. There's not going to be any conversion right now. Anybody who buys STRK would be compelled to convert after MicroStrategy breaks the 1,000 a share mark, after MicroStrategy is worth 1,000 a share. That's when the newly issued STRK preferred shares may be redeemed for MicroStrategy stock, and that's when the dilution in the common will happen. And when will MicroStrategy hit $1,000? I'll leave it up to you. But make no mistake, if there is a lot of demand for STRK, there will be a forcing function at some point, because you can't get to an NAV, to a price to NAV under 1, because if you do, then Saylor can just go ahead and buy back his own stock. So anyways, let me go for a quick back of the napkin calculation. Right now, BTC per share, each MicroStrategy share right now has $135 roughly of Bitcoin embedded in it. The future conversion price will be 1,000 shares. So how do you calculate the future price to NAV? The future convert price to NAV, you do 1,000 a share divided by 135, which means that issuance of the ATM at the market's newly issued shares, newly STRK, the newly minted STRK, you're minting it at a price to NAV of 7.4x. This is a dream come true for people who have been following MicroStrategy for a long time now, called strategy. Tapping the ATM on STRK is like selling $1 bills for $7.40. That's roughly the equivalent. And of course, that dilution happens in the future, and it doesn't happen today, which of course the market participants may be thrilled to hear about, especially those of you who are holding the common for more of a short term as more of a short term play and not a long term play. You will be happy to hear that. So that's like issuing shares at a 7.4x. That's like issuing the common at a 7.4x. I'm happy to see that. So let's talk about the 21 billion plans. We've had quite a few. We have had a 21 billion plan ATM. I estimate there's about 4 billion left. Of course, the last quarter there was 4.3 billion, but I found I reused that slide from towards the end of the video, so never mind. It's 4.3 billion left, but we're still gonna go with my rough back of a napkin estimates here. The convertible debt plan, about 14 billion left. When I read it, be closer to 14.4 billion left, but anyways, you get the gist. About 4 billion left on the ATM, on the common. My guess is he's gonna be done doing that. He will do that really towards the end of his strategy. When the common shares recover extensively is when we can expect him to do that. The 21 billion convertible debt plan, there's about 14 billion left. My guess is that he will continue to do those. Those are accretive. Those convert, 5 years, 6 years down the line. That's accretive. Now we have a new plan, 21 billion strike preferred at the market offering plan. That's the announcement of the day, 21 billion left. So if you add 4 billion plus 14 billion plus 21 billion, roughly, Saylor's got another $39 billion of buying power that is going to come through the MicroStrategy's doors within the next, a year, 2 years? I don't really know. The point is something's going to have to give at some point, because 39 billion divided by 80,000 a coin of Bitcoin, that's 487,500 more Bitcoin to buy, and there's a problem. There's only 450 new Bitcoins that are mined each day, so we can buy pretty much more than 1,000, let's call it almost 1,100 days worth of supply. If Bitcoin stays at 80,000, he can pretty much buy every single Bitcoin mined until the next halving if Bitcoin stays at 80,000. Now, there's a problem with that, of course, which is these guys are stacking. The miners are stacking, lots of companies, lots of Bitcoin treasuries are stacking. States may start stacking, and the US government itself may start stacking. So a lot of people are gonna come after those 450 Bitcoins. And so I guess Saylor is probably grateful for people being scared, being risk off right now and moving to bonds, because that means there is some cheap Bitcoin to buy. And while many of us may not have dry powder left to take advantage of this price, you can see that Saylor has dry powder left, because the volatility on MSTR is back. And if the volatility on MSTR is back like it is right now, that means you have demand for the convertibles. That means you're going to have some demand for the preferred, because a lot of traders, hedge funds, buy especially the convertible for the gamma trade. They don't do a delta trade. They don't do a directional bet thinking the stock's going to go up or down. They place a delta neutral bet. They place a bet that is not related to the direction of the price of Bitcoin. That's why they buy these. That's why they beat the stock up. Anyways, the black hole continues. Saylor wants MSTR hand in every pool of capital, and this is where I think we're going to have another edition. I think we're going to have an MSTR fixed edition. I think we're going to have a fixed coupon. That is a normal bond edition. He did 21 billion for the ATM. That's issuing new common stock. 21 billion for the convertible, right? That's been the biggest story so far. 21 billion for a preferred ATM now, and so you're building up your capital structure. You're creating a strong capital structure here, because you don't have straightforward debt. What does that mean? What does it mean after these 21 billion sources are exhausted? It means that 21 billion of normal bonds, just straight borrowing, right? That could happen down the line. And if you look at what Saylor has highlighted in prior annual reports, you can see that a fixed coupon, right? Just corporate debt, just your standard corporate debt, he's highlighted that for us as a potential plan. So my guess is that there will be another 21 billion plan at some point on just issuing straight bonds, standard bond, fixed coupon, lowest volatility, no upside related to Bitcoin, simply the backing of Bitcoin for the bond. Bitcoin, of course, being the hardest asset out there. At least that is the thesis for anybody who invests in Bitcoin. And this is very similar to him. So the product, to his strategy. So the products that really MicroStrategy issues as kind of a strategy bank of the future is they issue equity, they issue convert, they issue preferred, and they may issue bonds down the line, and many other things that they will be able to do that I've addressed in prior videos. There will be ways to earn a yield, a Bitcoin yield past 2030 via exploiting the blockchain, via doing things like Bitcoin mortgages, doing things like minting blockchain, minting stable coins. But there's not just that, right? You could list pairs, you could list dollar BTC pairs on all sorts of trading platforms. Many ways to use smart contracts to actually become a financial institution of the Finance 2.0 world, of the newly, discovered world of blockchain finance. This is also part of course, my black hole strategy. It's a one-way wall. People, all of this money, whether it's equities or bonds, it sticks to MicroStrategy, now called Strategy, and it stays within this ecosystem and it grows Bitcoin. It's a one-way transition between TradFi and this new digital finance world that we're entering. And of course, MicroStrategy, now called Strategy, acts as a black hole, and that black hole now has a lot of capital, 21 billion. That black hole has a lot of capital behind it. Let me conclude with the crash. Let's not confuse this macro crash. Micro crash because of what? Because China just discussed retaliatory tariffs on the US about an hour ago. Then you had the new Canadian Prime Minister taking a very strong speech against the tariffs and America in general. So this is also elevating trade wars, right? So there's a big trade war fear right now. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and of course Bitcoin is seen as risk on, MicroStrategy is seen as risk on, and it's suffering like everybody else. Look at this, the Nasdaq. I didn't check right now, but if this momentum continued right now, the Nasdaq is probably down about 4%. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. Look at a stock like Google or like Nvidia. Like, these stocks have just been battered and battered. And we're entering our 4th week of pain. I'm very proud of Bitcoin's performance. If you are pure Bitcoin or Bitcoin derivatives, you're actually doing much better than if you're traditional risk on. Because if I look at Bitcoin from the peak, we're down 24%, almost 25% now. Nvidia is down more than Bitcoin, almost 28%. I cannot even begin to understand what's going on with Tesla, because Tesla also had the best news in the history of the stock. It's down 50%. Bitcoin has the best news in the history of Bitcoin. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, Game Theory. Every single book discusses this day on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's down 24%. And you can see MicroStrategy is down 28%. And you may say, oh, well, I'm cherry-picking the numbers. No, I'm not cherry-picking the numbers. I'm using about late January here because that's when the market as a whole started to crash. But even if you take Bitcoin strategy back at its peak, it is down 47%. So even MicroStrategy is down less than, say, a stock like Tesla. Nvidia is also a pretty darn scary drop. Many of these stocks, especially the smaller caps, many of which I focus on this channel, high growth companies, are down, scarily. HIMS is down more than 50% too. So the point of this final slide is, let us not confuse what's going on for MicroStrategy and for Bitcoin right now as underperformance. Given how much risk there is embedded in these companies, to me, this is almost overperformance. They are holding up pretty well compared to a lot of other stocks out there, including Nvidia, including Tesla. So, MicroStrategy at 250, I gotta tell you, I'm actually pretty happy. But anyways, we'll see where this goes. Stocks can't go down forever. This is week 4. This is getting a little long. This is very annoying. Thankfully, I live to a park nearby, and hopefully I don't delete the apps soon and take a pause on the channel. But no, I won't. I'll stay here. This is not my first rodeo. We've had so many of these in 2020. So anyways, this was not financial advice, no investment advice. This is just entertainment. Hoping you were entertained. Please subscribe. Follow me on Patreon. Follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.